But Johnny, let's turn. So all of that was very positive and like looking towards the future. We're also now going to look at the future for the Flash, but it's not going to be as positive as we just were. Before we get into the Flash, though, make sure to check us out on patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. That is how you can help support both Most Valuable Podcast and Most Valuable Podcast Nerd. 3 different tiers. You can help support us. The Discord channel popping off per usual. So you can get that for as low as $1. You can also join podcast for as high as $10. We also have the $5 tier as well. So check that link out in the description below. But Johnny, let's take a look at DC and the Flash. And I've got some setting up to do here because this movie was supposed to come out in 2020, or I think it missed its window. It was supposed to come out in 2020, I believe, which there's no way it's coming out in 2020. This is a movie where the Flash has gone through 3 different development teams when it's come to this kind of just what's going on. So I'm reading this from a Screen Rant article. All of these articles are Screen Rant articles. The Flash has been through multiple creative teams, from Seth Grahame-Smith to Rick Famuyiwa to John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. Before now, right now, this happened literally right before Dave and I went to Vegas earlier this month. Now the third team of Andy Muschietti, who is the director of the It movies, and the writer of the Bumblebee movie also. I'm looking up his name here. So you've got, or her name. So you've got Andy Muschietti and now Christina Holtzen are the 2 that Warner Brothers is now looking at. Where the funny thing with Muschietti, the It director, is he's even come out and said that after It Chapter 2, he wants to take a break and then do The Flash. So if they're going to have him on as director, who knows when we're going to get it? Because he's made it clear, I want to... Because these It movies have basically been one after another. Like, they finished the first one, let's get right into the second one. So basically, he's been doing one long story, 2 movies in one. Wants to take a break, like, can understand, before he jumps into anything. And apparently, the Flash himself, Ezra Miller, is the reason why Goldstein and Daly, who were the Spider-Man Homecoming writers, why they apparently left the product earlier this summer is because of, basically, I'm just going to call a spade from what I've seen, is that Ezra Miller is not backing down on his version of what's going on. And the excerpt I'll read before I ask you your thoughts, Johnny, is Ezra Miller first signed on to the DCEU's Barry Allen in 2014. In those 5 years, The Flash has seen a succession of directors come and go from the project. The film's original director, Seth Grahame-Smith, walked from the project early 2016. The Flash would then see Rick Famuyiwa board the film, with the director even appearing on stage alongside his fellow DCEU filmmakers at 2016 San Diego Comic-Con, only for him to vacate the director's chair that October. So he's at Comic-Con in July. October of 2016, he vacates the director's chair. The Daly Goldstein duo would be the next to sign on to the project, though by that point, The Flash had now missed its targeted 2018 release window. While both Smith and Famuyiwa had cited creative differences as the reasonings behind their departure, many fans were upbeat about the prospect of the film finally getting off the ground, with Daly and Goldstein targeting the 2020 release date prior to the duo's departure earlier this summer. We even talked about that, how I was excited for that. Meanwhile, since signing on as the character in 2014, Miller has made 2 cameos as Barry Allen in BVS and Suicide Squad, building to a major portrayal of the character in Justice League. For all the creative birthing pains the Flash has gone through, Miller has been the one party to consistently remain attached to the film, where a project being struck in such a state of development, its development hell, has frequently dissuaded other actors. Miller has shown no signs of losing interest in the role, and that by itself speaks to the commitment to portraying Barry Allen. Also, him and Grant Morrison have wrote their script. Ezra Miller, his version of the Flash, and he is sticking to it as a more darker version. I'll just get to the question now for you, because that's what people want, is us to talk about it. Should Warner Brothers make Ezra Miller's version of the Flash, or are you on my side of, no, he's the old guard, the Zack Snyder guard. Once I hear someone say darker version, get him the hell out of here. That didn't work the first time. What do you think?
It depends on what I would have to. That's the biggest thing. I want to know what he means by darker version, because the storyline. And here's the not necessarily defending him, but kind of 50-50.
Play devil's advocate. I love it.
Okay, I will. The storyline they've been talking about doing this whole time, the Flashpoint paradox.
Yes,
that is a dark storyline.
Especially with that Batman. So, and I mean, just the Amazonians versus Atlantis fight. You have all the you have that clash of fight, and you have all the heroes, even some of the villains, trying to fight to keep the surface from being destroyed by those two forces. Yeah.
So it's just a dark storyline in general.
Yeah, because you've got.
So I'm fine with it for this movie, just because the storyline itself is already dark. If you give me but if you give me the Flash's personality as dark and make him Batman like they sort of did in Man of Steel, I'm not going to be happy with that.
You mean the Flash's personality?
Because that's not his personality.
Well, it wasn't like he was like Batman.
I'm saying, in Man of Steel they made Superman more dark and gritty than I expected Superman to be.
Yeah.
They made him lean a lot more towards Batman's personality. I was like, this isn't Superman. They fixed it in Justice League.
Yeah. I mean,
but so I'm giving Ezra Miller a chance as the Flash. Yeah, I know you and Dave did not like him. And I'm just giving it a chance because he was only in that movie so far. And I'm like, well, maybe this will be his breakout into being the Flash we all know.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me,
as I keep punching my own knuckles,
I wasn't as harsh on Ezra Miller after
Dave.
Justice League. I know. Well, Dave, I will defend him.
No, I'm not.
For them out there. Okay. Because if you're new, Dave, what Batman is to me or what Wolverine is to you, that is to Dave.
Dave is
Batman's my favorite hero. Wolverine
Flash
is your favorite. Dave, the Flash is his guy. His ride or die villain is the Flash. So
hero?
For him to hero
villain.
So for him to see Ezra Miller, I almost think of him as a villain because that's what I think of Ezra Miller right now. So for him to see the Flash portrayed like he was like if I saw a Spider-Man or a Batman that was like, nope, don't give me that. I don't want that. And you look at the Flash, and I know Ezra Miller made comments where it's like when asked about the movie where he's like, well, if you look at Barry Allen, he's usually late, but when he's there, he gets the shit done. He goes, that's probably what this movie has been. We're late. We're going to come out late than what we expected, but it's still going to be a good movie. And I just sit there and it's like, you're right on the Flashpoint part. It's a dark story. You've got the Amazonian war with the Aquaman war of they want to control the world respectively.
Atlantis v.
the Amazons.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
Themyscira, that's a place.
Themyscira. You've got Batman that's basically popping caps in people.
Punisher Batman.
Yeah, basically. And you also have a Superman that has been kept in captivity. And even when he comes out, that scene in the animated movie where it's just like lasers through everybody because he doesn't know, like...
There's no better.
Yeah, well, yes, he's been kept away from the sun, so that's why he's all frail. But he's had no social aspects with anybody,
yeah.
so he doesn't know how to
as soon as
interact
you
with
the word
anybody.
friend.
Exactly. So I get that, but there's a part of me to where this is what I feel. I feel Ezra Miller is holding on to something. He's holding on to the past because when I hear, a darker version, all I think about is, you're holding on to the Zack Snyder version of the DCEU. Like, the DC's biggest problem was Zack Snyder. I thoroughly believe that. It's Pete and I were having this, and if you're new, Pete was on our wrestling podcast. I actually want to have him on this podcast in the future to talk about Superman v. Batman, which one is the better hero, because I'm a Batman stan and he's a Superman stan.
So I'm going to be the moderator at that point.
It's a conversation I've always had with him that I want to eventually have on a podcast. And we were talking, and he said that, and I agree with him, that Zack Snyder was the worst thing for the DCEU because coming out of that, Zack Snyder, his two biggest claims to fame before being headed of the DCEU of Man of Steel was 300 and Watchmen. Both more darker, gritty type of films. But
which fits those.
The Watchmen, darker superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
You look at, or even darker superhero comic.
Yeah, that too.
You even look at 300, that's a dark story. You're talking about war in this sense.
War and just basically a suicide mission.
Yeah, and Leonidas wasn't a Boy Scout.
No.
So it kind of fit that, but
you're talking about a nation whose thought was death in battle was the greatest honor.
Yes.
So.
And kind of the darker tones they used in both of those movies fit. I feel like Ezra Miller is hanging on to the old DCEU where films and I know that people have, Dave brought up to me, yeah, but Aquaman and Wonder Woman, both of them are from that they're from, they didn't recast those characters is what he was saying. And I said, yeah, that's true. But when you look at it, Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa aren't hanging on to, Jason Momoa didn't come out and say, I want my Aquaman to be a darker character. No, he worked with James Wan and they made a great, I'm going to say a great movie for Aquaman. I loved the Aquaman movie. Gal Gadot now has had one, she's probably going to have two now, with Wonder Woman 1984. That's going to be a great movie to go and watch. Because, that's also Patty Jenkins. You got to put some of it in her hands, too, being a great director for that franchise, where I feel Ezra Miller is hanging on to this idea of oh my God, I need to basically being a Zack Snyder stan, in the sense. And
see what I'm hoping. Oh, go ahead and finish.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What I'm hoping is when he says he wants it darker, is that maybe the two, because they did, Game Night and Homecoming is that they were almost going to do Spider-Man that much Homecoming lightheartedness.
Yeah.
And it's no. Ezra Miller goes, no. This is the Flashpoint Paradox storyline. I'm going to rewrite this to be dark like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping is they tuned it up a little too much. And I'm not saying they don't do a good job. I think they would do a good job with their movies, but I'm just hoping he thought that they tuned it up too much and goes, no, this story needs to be dark.
Well,
that's what I'm hoping for when we get the movie. I just want us all to win.
And let me read this too, because this is going into that.
Yeah.
While Warner Brothers rejected Miller and Morrison, so Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison's script, because they wrote it together, the studio decided to keep him in the role despite his Flash contract reportedly being up. However, it was Miller's desire for a darker take than what Daly and Goldstein envisioned, rather than the script itself, that was the real point of the endeavor. The actor remaining following the director's departures signals that the direction of The Flash and its role in the DCEU. While both Aquaman and Shazam had their share of levity, James Wan and David F. Sandberg made sure they weren't lacking for darker elements either. Conversely, Daly and Goldstein come from an outright comedic background, which their screenwriting role on Marvel's Spider-Man Homecoming being indicative of the direction they likely intended for The Flash. And here's where I'm going to come into it. Maybe it's because, like you said, The Flashpoint's a darker story. Bringing in Andy Muschietti wouldn't be a bad thing because, like, you're coming off of that horror aspect of it. And I believe David F. Sandberg, when we talked about him for the Shazam movies, I believe he was coming off. Yes, he was. He was coming off of horror movies as well, being Annabelle Creation and Lights Out were two of the movies, the last two before he did Shazam. Because I remember us talking about, how is he going to do with a comedic movie with Shazam? The contract situation is also interesting in this case because you have the Flash. Right now, the Flash contract is up. They have not re-signed Ezra Miller as the Flash, even though he's trying to save the project. Mm-hmm. They're, and I say they're meaning Warner Brothers, is in a catch-22 though, because let's say they wanted to get rid of Ezra Miller as the Flash, they have to almost do it uniquely because he's also in Fantastic Beasts. So what Ezra Miller could do is, if he wants, could use his role, which is coming back, I believe, for the third one, his role in Fantastic Beasts, to leverage himself in these Flash negotiations. Where basically, hey, if you don't want me as the Flash, that's fine. But I'm not going to be in Fantastic Beasts then. And you got to find a different character, which that's something that studios don't want to deal with, is recasting a major character third movie into the film. Like, it's not impossible. We've seen films that are like, you know what? It's just going to be, we're not going to say anything. He's just going to look different. We're just not going to point out anything. It's just going to be a new actor. None of the other characters are going to react to it. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be like, boom, here it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically like Rhodey.
Yeah. No one really pointed it out. No one noticed it. They just replaced him from Iron Man 1 to 2.
And that's good and bad, because if they cast someone then it's like, great, I lost out on 2 roles. But he could use that
as leverage
for the Flash contract, where I'm sitting here and I'm thinking Barry Allen as a character. Originally I wasn't hating it, but the more and more like I think about it and the more and more all this goes on, I start to think about, well, was he that great as the Flash? He wasn't terrible. But could we get a better Flash? Like, I think there's more room for getting a better Flash, to where I'm like, why are we going through all this trouble just for Ezra Miller?
Yeah, I know. That part I agree with you. We're going through a lot of trouble for one person.
We're letting him handicap this project. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. Whereas, I'm not going to judge him on his Flash from one movie, especially since it's possible that it's the script writing and not him that made it that way. Because, I know one of Dave's biggest things is Barry Allen's supposed to be, have friends. Tons of friends. He was more of a socially awkward, 20-year-old.
Yeah, the way Dave described it after he saw The Flash was great. The Flash has ADHD.
Yeah.
That's the Flash where the Flash isn't supposed to be. The Flash is kind of cocky. He's got those one-liners.
And I'm hoping that, this was one movie
Like, he's
where,
got personality.
yeah, this is where they wrote him in that way. And I'm hoping that they wrote him in that way and that wasn't his acting into it. Is whereas maybe this movie will make up and kind of put him into the Flash that we should have.
Yeah, I mean, that could be part of it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you come into a role, and it's also the side of it, too, is did Warner Brothers cast him knowing the version of Flash that was in the script?
Yep.
So that's why they casted him. But also, if you come into a role, if the director, Zack Snyder, tells you this is how he wants the character played, you're obviously going to play it that way because that's what the director wants. And basically, if you don't do it, they'll say, well, fuck you. We're not going to have you in the movie and we'll find someone else. Here's my biggest problem. This is the last thing I'll leave it off as. You've had now 3 sets of people. Like, for example, if we were doing a podcast and I was doing it with you, and then after, let's say, a couple weeks, you said, fuck this, I can't do it, and you leave. And then I have someone else come in. And after a couple weeks, they say, fuck this, I can't do it. Like, I can't handle this. And they leave. And then I have a third person come in. And after a little while, they say, fuck this, I can't handle it. And they leave. Eventually, I would start to think, am I the problem? Is it them or is it me? And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Warner Brothers has to look at it and go, yes, we might lose him in Fantastic Beasts, but this is a movie that was supposed to come out in 2018. Then it was supposed to come out in 2020. It's already too late to come out in 2020. We're not going to hit that window.
No.
We've already rejected him and Morrison's script. Do we really want one actor basically like kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I lost it. Not handicapping, taking, like, holding this movie hostage to where here's what I would be shocked if it happened, but I wouldn't be surprised either, which is kind of contradictory. But this is my prediction. So you know how with Batman, they brought in Matt Reeves?
Yeah.
And they were like, you're gonna write it, you're gonna direct it, and then they said, hey, Ben, it was nice to see you, but bye. I can see the same thing happening here. Andy Machete comes in. They already know he wants to take a break, so that's fine. We weren't going to hit the 2020 anyways. Also, throughout that break, it gives the Bumblebee writer, Christina Hodson, gives her time to write the script. What I would not be surprised happening, I'd be shocked because it actually happened, but I wouldn't be surprised, is if Machete directs it, it's written by Hodson, they're like, cool, we like the script, Machete's going to direct it, and they Ben Affleck Ezra Miller, where they say, thanks but no thanks, we're not taking you back, and they recast the Flash. I would love it, because to me at this point, I think he's holding the project hostage to where they can't really get any work done. And honestly, if I'm Christina Hodson right now, I don't want to be a dick, but I kind of do. If Ezra Miller's like, I've got some ideas, you know what I would say if I was Christina? Thanks, but you're not under contract right now. Like, because you're not under contract as the Flash, I'm going to let me be me, let me do this, and I'm not going to take ideas from you. Because that's a way you could do it of like, well, you know, if you were under contract, then yeah, your point would be valid, but I don't even know if you're going to be in this movie. So that's my biggest hope, is that she writes it, Andy directs it, Ezra Miller gets the Ben Affleck treatment, and we then get a new Flash. But at the same time, the devil you know sometimes is better than the devil you don't know, and they could obviously recast it, and we could be hating it. Like, people already... We haven't even seen him yet, but people hating the Robert Pattinson
yeah,
Batman casting.
which I heard he dropped from that now, so...
Are you dead serious?
I heard it, but I don't know if that's true. Heard it like 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
The last thing I see is Robert Pattinson gets Batman Rebirth suit to replace Ben Affleck in Image. No. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything up here that he has taken away the role.
I've got from comic book / DC, what is it? Actor Robert Pattinson drops out of movie due to scheduling conflict.
Oh, no, I saw that too and thought the same thing. He didn't drop out of Batman. He dropped out of a different movie.
Oh, he dropped out.
If you actually, that's one where they get you with the headline. Because I know that exact article. I did the same thing. I clicked on it on Facebook. I was shocked. So what it is I know that one. He was doing a different movie. I can't remember what it was called. He dropped out of that movie because he's going to be in Batman instead. That's what it was. No, I know that exact article because I clicked on it thinking it was going to be a big story for us to talk about. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below with this whole Flash situation. Am I too hard on Ezra? Do we need a new Flash? Do you want to see his version of the Flash and Flashpoint? Let us know what you guys think down below.